Hey, what's going on everybody? It's me, The Cruel, and we are talking about a great game. You know what it is. So before we start this dope-ass video, I'd just like to give a shout out to my boy Owie Ankles. He's the guy who created these pieces of art, and that's exactly what I consider them. And by the way, any of you guys who are subscribed to me, do not be afraid to send fan art. That's all I gotta say. Let's start the video. Last week, I showed you how to survive. This week, I'm gonna show you how to kill people who are trying to survive. That's right. We're talking about how to play the killers of last year, The Nightmare. Let's get this fucking shit started. Tip number 1, do not take on the entire team, rather focus on one person, because if you do take on the whole team, you'll find out very quickly why that is not a good idea. Tip number 2, do not underestimate the enemy team. Sometimes it's best not to attack, and in situations such as these where there's at least 4 or maybe even 3 people there, you can easily prevent taking unnecessary amounts of damage. Tip number 3, this one's taking a little bit of inspiration from the second one, but don't take any unnecessary damage. If you do that, you will die quicker than you think because most people are more prepared than you would think. And the survivors have the will to survive, so also just keep that shit in mind. Tip number 4, if you are going to drop down on people and try to get at least 1 or 2 swings in, actually make sure that there's only 1 person in the area, or maybe even just 2. Because you will find that any shock, any stun, or anything can negate your damage that you deal, and again, you take unnecessary and risky amounts of damage, leading to possible death. That shit could have been prevented. Sorry! Moving on now to tip number 5, there is no real easy way to play the Strangler except to place traps everywhere, but this will do just fine. Moving somebody to a secluded area where even if there are a few teammates behind them is a better idea than just waiting around and standing out in the middle of the open. Tip number 6, if you are chasing one person and the rest of the team is away, don't chase that one person. There's no point. Go back into Predator mode and find them and get them a different way. You can do that, just like this. This is not a tip, but it might be. It's not, I'm just kidding. If you did not follow all of these rules, chances are you've just gotten your first total failure. If not first, then I'm sorry. Tip number 7, trap where people are going to be, so that once you do start an attack, you can corral them into that one area. This right here is an instance of that. See, she flashes, and she would normally get away, but she walks right into the trap that I placed right there, making it so that I was able to secure the kill. Tip number 8, if you're going against a player and they have that fucking camera, turn your back when they decide to flash you, because that is a great way to avoid a stun and even secure a kill. This isn't so much of a tip, but if you're ever playing with NRS Jack, make sure you kill him in the most brutal way possible. That's all there is to it. Tip number 9, set up a line of traps, and then if you are playing the slasher or giant, spawn behind them. Because it's a situation such as that of being stuck between a rock and a hard place, and most people will choose the hard place, if you know what I mean. Tip number 10, in the very beginning of every game, if you play the slasher, make sure you trap the boxes because everybody is a scrap vacuum cleaner, and it's actually a good way to secure a kill, such as this one right here. Now, this wasn't actually the beginning of the game, but this is basically a strategy you could do at the beginning of the game. Oh yeah, and one more thing, if people are trying to 69 slide it in, make sure they don't do that shit, okay? Boom, there it is. That's not a tip, just keep it in mind. And just like that, after watching this tips video, you should be getting trophies such as these, and survivors such as those. That being said, you have yourself a bloodbath, maybe even an absolute, total, disgusting, bloody fucking massacre. And that's all I really gotta say. If you liked this video, tell me down below. If you didn't, also tell me that down below, but I will see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to keep it cruel. And if there is something that I forgot, do not hesitate to point it out. I do forget things a lot. And last but not least, keep it cruel.